Hi everyone. Some time ago, a friend loaned me this cable. This is a Cisco direct attach copper cable, and it's basically a piece of copper wire attached to two SFP Plus modules that go into an SFP Plus port on whatever compatible switch or router, etc. that you've got. Normally, for SFP and SFP Plus, you have a situation like this where the transceiver or module is separate from whatever cable you're connecting it to. In this case, it's a fiber cable that's being shown here. But in this cable, they're directly attached. So this is often used in a data center to connect nearby devices because the length limitation for copper is obviously a lot less than for fiber. Now, I actually don't have a compatible switch or router that would connect these. What I've got is a Cisco SG300-10MPP with a plain SFP port that is a 1 gigabit port. And I also have a Cisco Catalyst 2960CX. And this cable is actually 10 gigabits, so it's really not the correct cable to connect these two switches. I would want ideally a 1 gigabit module on either end and the appropriate type of fiber to connect them. But anyway, I thought it'd be kind of interesting to see what would happen if you actually did connect this cable between these two devices. It's not compatible, it's not supposed to work, but I'm just curious to see whether it would actually do anything or not. There's one person who actually did a video similar to this, and he explored this concept, but his gear is Unify mostly, and so it's a little bit different in terms of interface. The concepts are the same, and it's actually well worth watching his video. Okay, so the first thing I will do is get connected to each of these devices. On the left, I will use a green color to differentiate the two. And on the right, I'm going to use butter. This terminal, by the way, is analog term 2. It was written by a friend of mine, and I will link it to the description in case you're interested in using it. So first, I will connect to the SG300, and we'll just show that it is in fact the SG300 here, just by doing a show system. Yeah. So 10 port gigabit switch. And if we look at the interfaces, this is the interface here that I plan to use, this GI9, which is a 1 gig combo. I'm not sure if I actually mentioned that. This port here on the SG300 is a combo port or combi port, meaning that you can really only choose one of these two ports to be active at a time. In fact, a lot of the documentation refers to the SFP port as a fiber port. Since you already have a copper port on this side, it doesn't necessarily make a lot of sense to use a copper SFP module, although I guess certainly you could if you wanted to. That's what we're doing today in this test. And the interface configuration looks like this. It's really straightforward. There's nothing to it. Right now the port is shut, but eventually I will open that up. Okay, let's do the same thing for the Catalyst. Okay, and I'm going to turn the monitor on so that we get those syslog type messages when we plug and unplug cables, etc. And we'll just take a look at the software version. So this one's a 2960 running pretty much, I think at this time anyway, the latest and greatest software that I could find. And the interface that we'll use on this switch is GI0/12. And right now you can see also that it is disabled. Now, because this isn't a combi port, it doesn't have the same restriction. I can plug anything in here without affecting any other port on that switch. And if we look at the configuration, it looks almost identical to the one on the other switch. It's just the output's in a slightly different order. Okay, so at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug the cable in into both ports, and we'll see what the result will be. Okay, so you can see that there's been some activity on the various devices. The SG300 just says that the SFP port is present, so that's good. It's funny, there's a lot of references here to gigabit interface. This is obviously like a 10 gigabit interface though, so not totally correct, but that's fine. On the 2960, this is a bit of a bad news. So yeah, it says the SFP is not supported. And sure enough, I did try a variety of things to make that go away, but I was not successful. So we will configure the interface to be unshut, but as you will see, this doesn't actually work. So it's spoiler alert. But okay, so we've opened the interface up on the SG300, and we'll do the same thing on the Catalyst. And yeah, you can see that the link is down. I really did try a lot of things to make this work, but I wasn't able to do it. Even things, there were some undocumented commands that I tried, and I also did turn off auto negotiation and tried to fix the speed and the duplex. Unfortunately, none of that made a difference. So we'll just take a quick look at the result. So if we do a show int status, you can see that it still says that it is in copper mode and that the link state is down. And if we look at the same thing over on the on the Catalyst, let's see. Yeah, the status there is not connect. And so unfortunately, this basically does not work. However, I did think of another test. It's a bit strange, but I decided to plug the SG300 into itself. And to do that, I actually set up already the GI10 port. And just as a reminder, this device has two of these SFP ports. They're combi ports, so it's I'm using port GI10, and I just put a different VLAN on it, and it's shut right now. But I'm gonna go move the cable from the Catalyst to the SG300. You can see that the Catalyst complains that I've ripped out its SFP module, and you can see on the SG300 side that the SFP has been inserted into GI10. Now similarly, if we unshut that interface, right away you can see that there's actually traffic happening. And the link is shown as up. Not only that, it says now that we've switched from copper to fiber, which is a bit funny because it really is still copper, but we are using the SFP port. Now, if I do a show interface status, oops, I'm in config here still. You'll see now that it says 1G combo F for fiber. The negotiation is off because it has to run at 1 gigabit speed. There really isn't an option there, but the link state is up and it is running, and I can show that by looking at the CDP table. And so you can see that on both ports GI9 and GI10 is the same device ID, because this device is now talking to itself over those ports. So in conclusion, will a DAC work on a switch that only supports SFP? And the answer is it depends. It depends on the switch and its capabilities. It obviously won't be supported. So if you're planning to actually do this for real production use, it's not a good idea, but it may or may not work depending on your switches. That's it. Thanks for watching.